it blows my mind more than anything when people are on social media complaining about the negative YouTubers while promoting the negative YouTubers.
Welcome to Unleashed. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are the guys.
Hey everyone, welcome to Unleashed. I'm James. Thanks for stopping by. We talk Star Wars Friday the 13th. That's when this one's dropping. Hoping you're joining us talking in the live chat or in the comments below. Let me know if you have a topic you want to hear talk about on this show, the podcast, or Flying Casual. Let us know also. We will try to do what we can. Also, we're on Patreon. Join that. Look, I want to talk today about Star Wars, obviously. And I guess the state of it, I guess like I went on vacation, I came back and there was this whole social media thing. We talked about that on Monday's show, but and we don't really like to talk too much about that or any of that really. We did on Monday just because it's a live show and it's kind of like an off the cuff kind of thing, and that felt like an appropriate conversation for that show. But we like to stick to Star Wars and Star Wars itself. And I had some comments at me saying, like Star Wars is dead is the big one. But part of it is, and I've said this for a while, is if you can go back and pre Last Jedi, the numbers that we were getting on this channel were in the thousands. We were getting thousands of views per podcast. I remember at one point at our height, we were like, I think it was like 2 or 3 views a minute for the first few hours anyway. So, and we were getting quite a lot. And then The Last Jedi came out and it like, we suffocated. It's just like, it crushed us. And it was like, oh, people were because we weren't negative on The Last Jedi. I think we had some negativity, obviously. I mean, look, it's not, we try to be honest on the channel. As well, we don't try. We are honest on the channel as much as we can be. We want to just this is our honest opinion of this, and we are Star Wars fans, and so the most part, we enjoy the Star Wars we get. The Last Jedi, not all of us enjoyed it. Some of us enjoyed it a lot more than others, and some of us found it in the middle. So it was, so we do that, but because we were more positive and we weren't coming at it, we weren't getting the views that some of the other channels were getting. Now, that might sound like I'm complaining about it. I'm not. We made a conscious decision to not go negative on the talk of The Last Jedi. We could, I mean, if we wanted to, we could have gone all the way to the dark side. But we were like, you know what? Let's stick to who we are and just give our honest opinions, because that's what we're doing the show for. We're doing it to hang out and have a conversation. But this right here on Unleashed, I want to bring it up, and I'm bringing that up because there's a state of Star Wars right now that feels almost like it's become unlikable. And I don't think it's unlikable to like a casual viewer, but to the people that are on YouTube constantly, on Twitter, on social media constantly, looking at Star Wars, looking at the Star Wars fandom from the outside, like all of that. I think that's very negative right now, and it's very unlikable in a lot of ways. And part of it is people complain like, oh, only the negative YouTube videos are getting views. YouTube needs to fix the algorithm. And I think I might have said something to that effect at some point, maybe not on the show or anything, but it feels that way, right? It feels like the more negative you are, the higher your views are. And you can look again at this channel, when you bring up something negative, the views get higher, or you put in the title something that could lead to a negative conversation. Or anyway, the point is negativity sells. But there's another part to that where it's like, does negativity sell? Is it the negativity that's selling, or is it Star Wars itself isn't selling the fandom what it wants, and they're lashing out, and the way they lash out is to watch videos that are also lashing out? Is that the case? Is the case that the people who watch these videos that gave us thousands and thousands of views years ago are no longer happy with the product that's being displayed for them, and instead of watching a video that we put out where we're like, you know what, we really enjoyed this episode of The Acolyte, we thought the Witches song was the greatest, the pop song in the end credits was great, we never said that. But if is that they're not coming to us because of that, or are they not coming to us because they're not liking it and they just want to hear what other people who don't like it have to say? Because as I think human nature is to group ourselves together, right? We want to be with like-minded people. I love debating. If you didn't love Acolyte and this person loved Acolyte, talk about it. Have a conversation. You don't have to argue. You can still be friends at the end of the day. You don't have to take it don't take it personally, right? It's Star Wars. These are individual stories written by and directed by other people that are not you. You should not take this stuff personally at all. It is entertainment, which is why I enjoy doing this podcast with Brock every week, because we get to talk about Star Wars, talk about what we like about Star Wars. But the problem is when people aren't liking anything about Star Wars, they're not gravitating to a positive channel, right? And part of that is the algorithm, because if, let's say, you watched an episode of The Acolyte or of Boba Fett or whatever, and you didn't like it, you want to see what this person didn't like about it, and you're going to go to that. And then once you click on that, the YouTube algorithm is going to consistently take you to the videos that are like-minded in that sense. So that's what you're going to get. And it blows my mind more than anything when people are on social media complaining about the negative YouTubers while promoting the negative YouTubers. Nothing drives me more crazy than I can't stand YouTuber X. Don't pay attention to YouTuber X. YouTuber X is they're jerks. He's a jerk. She's a jerk. They're all jerks. But in doing so, you're promoting, and now you're making your audience, the people reading your post, watching your video, whatever it is, now they're intrigued. They're like, well, why is this person such a jerk? I've got to go check out why this person is such a jerk. And all of a sudden, their views are now exploding. Their subscriber base will explode because somebody is going to trickle in and be like, you know what? I kind of agree with this person. And they're going to trickle in and they're going to grow. And then the algorithm's going to be fed more and more and more. And it drives me. If you don't like someone or something, you got to cut them off at the knee, at the shin, at the knee. You got to cut them off. You got to say, enough is enough. I don't want this. I have don't recommended enough channels on YouTube. And we've been on, this channel has been around for 8 years on YouTube. Don't recommend it enough. I don't block a lot of people, but people have been blocked for very, very, very rude, unnecessary comments. There's been some very harsh ones directed at specific people. And those ones I don't appreciate, and those ones will not be tolerated here as well. But it's an open space. And a red flag for me is we're a positive Star Wars channel, positive Star Wars podcast, positive Star Wars avatar, whatever it is. Are you? Because the negative, at least with the negative, they're coming at you from a we don't like this, we don't like. But the other guys, the other side of it is like, we love this, but there's like a mentality. But I would say we're going to talk about the unlikely, but part of it, all of this is making it unlikable in a way. But it's almost like, hey, just it's like the political landscape is you're here or you're here. But you don't always have to be this far apart. You can meet somewhere here and have, but that doesn't exist anymore. Everybody, whatever it is, I think social media has really split people really deep down far in the middle, and it's like the Red Sea parted, and it's what side of the sea are you on now? And it's unfortunate. But Star Wars doesn't help themselves out in a lot of ways. And I mean that like you look at I've said this before, I think Star Wars has a massive, massive, massive PR problem. Chuck Wendig, what went down with him on Twitter all those years ago after the act, like he went nuts on fans. There are other writers who actually, I won't name it, they actually bashed Disney Star Wars TV shows, and they write Star Wars novels, and they're bashing the shows for this and that and whatnot. And it's like, no. You work for the company. You got to maintain. And I think, Rian Johnson, the way he kind of reacted to a lot of Star Wars fans, and like Amanda Stenberg coming out with a diss track, and then afterwards, she doesn't have a job with them. She can do what she wants. But the diss track in the middle of it, it's like you're putting gasoline on a fire that needs to be put out in a way that I appreciate you having the nerve to do that and to say, hey, screw you, because probably it was need to be said. But there's obviously a bigger issue at hand that needs to be dealt with. And I don't know how to deal with it. But I don't think a diss track in the middle of a show that's not doing well is going to help you out. I think the best way to get Star Wars to be likable again is just keep everyone talk about the show. Don't talk about the sexualities, the genders, the pronouns, don't talk about any of that. Just talk about the show. Lightsaber fights are cool in this show. The main character is a twin in this show. Talk about things like that. Don't feed the flames of the hate, because that's what's coming. And YouTube's not stopping it. You're not stopping it. The people on Twitter who are tweeting about how they hate the people that are doing that, they're not stopping. They're making it worse. Everything is feeding this flame of Star Wars, and Star Wars is obviously helping with it, like I said, with all their PR problems and comments. And then you have the director of the Rey movie saying what she said on like New Year's Day. Like there's so much negative press on Star Wars. Forbes is writing an article, the Star Wars fandom civil war, Star Wars fandom attacking that Star Wars fan. There's so much going on. Has Star Wars become unlikable? And I think for, like I said, the general audience, not so much, but I think for the people who are actually like in this circle, which I don't think is a majority necessarily, but it's enough. I think it's coming across as tiring and negative, and it's almost like, why do I want to watch this? Why? Like, you're not selling me on it. There's too much negativity towards it, and that needs to stop. And I know I did see Star Wars social media was pushing the Acolyte a lot with a lot of cool clips, but they're like captions were kind of lame. I'm not gonna. The captions were lame, and I look at them like, this isn't going to get people to watch the show. You need to get people to watch the show. I think Skeleton Crew right now is in the best position it can be. It had a kick-ass trailer, and I think what's his face, John Watts has said a couple things about it. Jude Law said a couple things about it. Keep it simple. I think that's the thing that works really. Even though, like, okay, you look at like Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. I love the Book of Boba Fett, but it did not work for a lot of people. Probably no season 2. Probably won't see Boba Fett for a while or ever again. And I look at that and I say, hey, you know what? I love this show, but people didn't. But the one thing that show had it where the hatred was definitely, it was different, right? There wasn't the vitriol that the other ones had. And what was the difference? And for me, I think it's just, Robert Rodriguez was one thing, but the way Jon Favreau handles Star Wars is, I just think perfection. Obviously, if you didn't like that or Mando season 3, I don't mean in terms of the delivery, but the way he talks about it, the way he discusses it in the media, he talks about it with such respect and affection, right? That's what you want. He doesn't put it down in any way. He doesn't say Star Wars is this way, we're doing it this way. This is the way we do Star Wars. I think Leslie Headland had a lot and this to completely fair. I think Leslie Headland actually had the same kind of mentality going into the Acolytes, but she kind of got sewered by a lot of by the media. The media kind of sewered her, in my opinion. That the media sewered Leslie Headland, because I think she went in there with the same kind of mindset as Favreau, where she loves Star Wars and she wants to bring Star Wars, and she's going to do her own thing with it, which is absolutely fair. Favreau did his own thing; she can do her own thing, and I think also at the end of the day, when it comes with the Acolyte, for me is I wasn't a big fan of it. I don't think I hated it. I hated parts of it, and I like parts of it, but I appreciated a lot of what they tried to do with it. And I just think they didn't succeed in what they were trying to do all the way. And I think sometimes they fell flat, and I think sometimes the execution wasn't there. And I think it really could have benefited from either being a movie or having a few more episodes to flesh things out. But I think Leslie Headland came at it from a genuine place of loving Star Wars and wanting to tell a Star Wars story. And I think she, for the most part, talked about it the same kind of way Favreau does. But I think that's the one thing Favreau does is he brings you in. He's like, I love, Boba Fett, and he talks about it so affectionately that when you don't like it, you're like, I didn't like it. It sucked. And that's kind of it, right? And a lot of Kenobi was like that as well, where it was like, because I think you want to like it. Whereas the Acolyte is a different beast. And this comes from, is it unlikable? Is right away, and Amanda Stenberg said this in her video, which I haven't watched, but she said it in the video. I've read the thing, but she said, like, right from the start they knew it wasn't going to be successful. But I don't know if that's true. I think they knew that there was going to be a lot of backlash and a lot of hate, for all the wrong reasons, and I think they got it for a lot of the wrong reasons. But I wouldn't say that's why the show was canceled. I think that's probably part of the review bombing, and off to a rocky and starting, back from the starting line further than they should have been. And it's not, and that is absolutely not fair. But I just think that the show just, it started off on that negative foot. People went in negative. The poster was amazing, but I don't think the trailers were very good. I didn't really like the trailers. It wasn't that exciting. And I think when you look at what happened with Ahsoka, where Ahsoka, it didn't do anything. It didn't go anywhere. Thrawn escaped. Okay, he could have been escaped from the beginning. Then, there was nothing of consequence really happened in that show. So you go into that, like, maybe untrusting Disney Disney Plus Star Wars. You're like, I don't know about that. But there's, it's really, from The Last Jedi, and then Solo was a fail, and then The Rise of Skywalker, I think, I enjoy that movie a bit, but I think that movie really, like, pissed a lot of people off. And now you have like the Last Jedi fans hate The Last Jedi. They also hate Rise of Skywalker, and they probably haven't seen Solo. Then the Last Jedi fans hate The Rise of Skywalker. They've probably seen Solo and think it's fine. But you've got to, but we're 6 years removed from that, and they still have to dig themselves out of that tunnel, out of that hole. Tunnel? They still have to dig themselves out. And Ryan Johnson made the negative comments. I mean, he made fun of Mike Zero. We can all make fun of Mike Zero all we want. The guy's got 900,000. I don't know what his stats are, but they're big. And he does a video every 4 seconds. Everybody knows that about Mike Zero. But he called him out. And I didn't think that was fair. And it's just, I know they're human, but also you're in charge of a property that is beloved for decades. And just a little bit of care into what you say publicly goes a long way. And that's where I think Favreau, the Mando and Grogu movie, we'll see how it goes, but I think they are, the press for that is going to be positive, and I think it needs to be spun positive. And I also think that's why that's the first movie coming out of the gate. I think the Mando and Grogu movie is the first Star Wars movie we're getting, and it'll be 7 years, 2026, 7 years. The first Star Wars movie we're getting in 7 years is the Mando and Grogu movie, because Disney knows, Bob Iger knows, Kathleen Kennedy knows that they need some goodwill. And The Mandalorian was that piece of goodwill that happened. It came, and everyone loved the first season of Mandalorian. Everyone loved the first season of Mandalorian. It was fresh. It was new. It was cool. It was Star Wars, but it wasn't Star Wars, but it was Star Wars. Everyone was in. Not a lot of negativity. Star Wars was at its peak with that. Then the Rise of Skywalker came out, and then I guess, I don't know what happened after, but season 2 was fun. Everyone loved season 2, some more than others, and then, season 3, people didn't really like season 3. Book of Boba Fett, we've discussed, and so on and so forth. But The Mandalorian, I think, still carries some goodwill. How now you go about taking out the Grogu Luke ending of 2 and making that matter, I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just ignore it. I don't know what you do. But I think that's the goodwill there. And I think Lucasfilm, Disney, Iger, Kennedy, they're banking on that goodwill to bring some positivity back to Star Wars and making it likable once again. And that I think is the first step in making it likable. I will say, when you look at The Last Jedi and look at Rise of Skywalker, there was almost I think they recognized where they felt fans felt they went wrong in The Last Jedi, rightly or wrongly. That I think they did, and I think they overcorrected in The Rise of Skywalker. They went a little too far around, and they got to watch that. But I think Mando and Grogu was the first step in making Star Wars likable again. And right now, I think we're on a good path, man. When you saw that teaser, that leak, I mean, I saw it live, but that leak teaser that came out, that looked sick. And that didn't leak. I mean, it was a leak, but it wasn't a leak. They let people record in that auditorium because they want the goodwill, because they need Star Wars to be likable again. And they want to assure the fandom that Star Wars is going to be Star Wars once again. So get ready because they are about to bring it. I hope that's the case. I don't know. Look, the one side, there's always going to be issues. Always. Don't cater to them. Cater to what makes the best story. Thank everybody for watching. Give us a like and subscribe. And until next time, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.